Good evening, everyone. Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. Adriana Barros, trauma release and healing specialist. And tonight, in the quality of certified BodyTalk practitioner. And as you probably got my reel regarding tonight's session, I'm hoping that you've seen it and that's why you're here. Or if not, thanks for popping in. Thanks for coming by. I'm glad you came. And we are doing a group healing session for guilt. And I've been working on emotions for a while and proposing sessions in regards to what is really affecting people these days, why people suffer, why people deal with situations and cannot let go of them. And this is because of the involvement of emotions. This is because people get stuck on situations, get stuck in the past because of emotions, because of memories, which keep playing in their heads regarding an experience that they've had in the past. And most of these experiences, the negative traumatic experiences that people go through, usually are experienced in their from infant years or even before they're born, all up to when they're 7 years of age, into their childhood. So 50% of everything that a human being needs to live regarding traumatic experiences in their lifetime are really experienced during these first 7 years of age. So it's pretty much half of everything that load of feeling, of emotions, of situations, of negativity that someone would maybe have more chance of dealing with in their adult years, but because most of humanity comes from a dysfunctional family, and for that reason they experience the trauma in an early age, because parents usually carry their own traumas from their parents, who carry their traumas from their parents, and keep passing it on until it hits you. And that's why when you experience it at a very early age, as a baby, as a child, you don't know how to deal with experiences. People just are thrown at things are thrown at them, and nothing really happens in the beginning until later in life. Hi everyone, good evening. And that's when people start having sequela from these traumas that they have lived at a very early age. So mind you that you can have a very balanced life for decades until something comes to surface. It's very different for everyone. There's no rule of thumb, but people can really start dealing with difficulties from a very early age, and guilt is one of them. So guilt comes, it's an emotion, but it's learned or on a conditioned response. So really, it's through experiences, it's through traumas that people start storing guilt towards the fact that they don't know how to deal with the situation. And then later in life, when they have more consciousness, they start revisiting the situation and start pointing fingers at themselves, because they could have done this, they could have done that, or they shouldn't have done this or that. And it develops as a self-conscious emotion, really. And when you reflect on your actions later on, as life goes on, you start asking yourself, why did I do it? Why did I not? What if I should have? What if I did? What if I... And things don't get any better as you get older. And this really is all based on all the experiences you've learned from society, from family, from institutions, towards what guilt is about, based on moral standards and moral values. And how do you deal with all those? Because you're thrown at all those, that information from all these places, people, and you start having to mold it into your own reality, into your brain, to start picking and choosing what's true, what's not, how this serves you, how it does not. So it is a very heavy load for a child to deal with. But if this is not taken care of later in life, this can turn into what we call, it becomes chronic, and it can turn into guilt complex. And then it can start affecting you in multiple ways, in multiple situations, as to the point that you can start expecting to be blamed for things, because you will always think that it is your fault, because you have that guilt complex inside of you, because you were told that you were guilty in the past. And children have an excellent memory, to the point that they'll never forget. They'll always have it buried in their subconscious mind. And mind you, that trauma does not only stay on the subconscious mind, but it gets lodged in the physical body too. So any body part can really link to trauma and can store it and start affecting you, because the emotion can start moving around and then can start coming up to surface in a form of diseases. So based on all the experiences you've had from childhood, guilt can really be linked to mental health conditions as well, to, like I said, to culture, religion, to social pressure as well, and finally to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as trauma, as I've been talking about. And there's different parts of the brain involved in this unique and single emotion, and you would not think that affects so many brain compartments, but it does. The anterior cingulate cortex, the prefrontal cortex, the temporal pole, or the limbic brain. So the limbic brain is pretty much involved with the emotional aspect of it, as well as the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking brain, and which is going to be processing all the information, the emotions, and the regulation and integration of what the load of information, what to do with it, what to do about it, and also regarding the social situations and the individuals that you deal with. So it's a very complex process just to deal with one emotion. But tonight, we were going to balance that. And if you are dealing with guilt, if you've had it stored in yourself for the longest time, not knowing what to do about it, the BodyTalk system is an excellent way to release and detach that from the brain, from the physical body, and to detach the emotion from a situation. Because the BodyTalk system, for those who don't know, is a holistic healthcare system. It's a consciousness-based system. And what does that mean? It means that the body is 100% consulted in order to what's going on in the process of releasing all these traumas, releasing all these emotions. So nothing is imposed upon the body, nothing is forced onto it. It's really the body responding to my questioning. And because I do follow an individual, I'll show you. We follow as practitioners this BodyTalk protocol chart, which is really a matter of scanning the body. This is what we call the GPS of the whole body mind, to really identify where the imbalances are, what's going on, and the emotions attached to those imbalances. And once it's really, things are coming to surface, because the whole body has their body psychology. Every body part has a body psychology, because the whole body is fully conscious of what has happened, of what's happening, and what is going to happen during the healing process. So it's a very interesting approach, which really uses different principles from different Eastern and Western medicines, and that's why BodyTalk can be similar to some modalities that you might know, but it's not that modality, because the principles are present. And that's why it's so deep, to the fact that it really approaches and heals body, mind, and spirit. So for those interested in knowing more about BodyTalk, like there's things on my page if you want to just watch videos and all, YouTube channel as well. There is a main technique in BodyTalk, which is the most powerful technique that I highly recommend for each and every one of you to practice every day, which is called the balancing of the cortices. I'm going to demonstrate it right now before we start the session, so everyone can join me and tap the cortices, because we're going to be integrating this technique by tapping the three brains: head, heart, and enteric brain. All these three brains work in conjunction in order to activate the healing process in the body: awareness, distribution, and decision, in order to change and heal the whole body mind. So it is important that you guys make this balancing, this tapping of the cortices as a daily routine. And if you do the tapping of the cortices every day for in a long run, you can really heal your body from different imbalances. If you want to call them diseases, you can. Okay, but it needs to be consistent. I would suggest 1 to twice a day if you have the time, and remember to do more, better for you. And it really, as we're tapping the brain for the cortices, it is really activating all the brain functions. So if you want to improve your memory, to have more concentration, if you want to calm down, if you want to sleep better, all these functions are related to the brain. Everything starts in the brain. All the functioning of all body systems and body parts come from the brain. Everything starts up here. And then the neurons, the brain cells, will send all the signals where they need to go in order for the body to function normally and for you to be healthy. So if there's a breakdown in that flow of communication from any neuron into a different body part, due to bumps on the road, which means emotions, traumas, all those, if not corrected, in the long run can start developing diseases in the body mind. So it might take you years, decades, it doesn't matter, but because that communication has been compromised for so long, then the body doesn't reset on its own. It needs help, and that's what the cortices does. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of water. If you want to, I would suggest that, I don't know where you are right now, but if you want to join the session, stay from the beginning to the end so you can receive it in full. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If you can't stay, watch the recording later, but make sure that you are in a quiet environment with no distraction, no TV or music or whatever else. And just be focused, be present, relax. You can be sitting, you can be lying down, whatever you want, okay? But be rested. Don't be driving or doing another activity, because it's not recommended. Okie doke. So pick a hand and place it on the base of the skull. The other hand is going to be, doing the activation of the three brains. So you're going to be tapping very lightly on the top of your head, on your heart, and on your abdomen area, which is the gut brain. At the same time, you're going to be deep breathing twice. Hi, everyone. I see you, but I can't greet everybody all the time, but hi. So go up another hand position after you breathe twice. Go up another hand position. Make sure that there's no spaces from your previous hand position, okay? Because if you do, we're gonna leave cold spots behind, and we don't want that. And also, if you experience yawning or burping during the process, like I am right now, it means that there are some cold spots in the brain that need to be corrected, okay? And this can be due to stresses, due to too much activity, whatever. Now, when you get to the top of your head, the parietal lobe, you can just tap very lightly on top of your hand, or you just can move it forward if it's better. But then if it's forward on your forehead, you have to do it twice. So 4 breaths, because the next hand position is right here, which is your thinking brain, the frontal lobe. So you're pretty much, by holding both hemispheres, you're connecting and sustaining a bridge to reset that communication. And the tapping works as an activation of energy throughout the body, as a tsunami, as the founder used to call it. Now we're going to do the activation of the limbic brain, which is the emotional brain. So place one hand on each side of your head above your ears. Let go of either hand and tap. Deep breathing, always, because deep breaths, actually, what they do, they scan all body parts. And the inhaling scans the lighter body parts and the denser body parts with the exhaling. Let go of the next hand and tap. All right, I'm done. I'll give you a couple of minutes so you can catch up. I don't know where you are in your process. All right, you good? Anybody still needs time, or you all finished? All right, so I'm gonna start. So now that we're more calm and more relaxed, it's better to be on receiving mode for the session, okay? All right, so I'm gonna connect with you guys. All right, so I'm just seeing everybody covered with a green light above you, which is healing. Green is related to healing. So I yawn during my sessions when I start perceiving the energy shifting process, and I can be doing a lot of it or none of it, but I usually do. So I'm not tired, just so you know. We're going to start working on the musculoskeletal body, on bones. So the whole structure of the body. So the whole body, when it comes to bones, is divided in BodyTalk in 3 groups. So we're going to work with the 3rd group, which is the spinal group. So we're going to work with the mid-spine, the thoracic. So the T4, the thoracic 4, more specifically. So it's really the middle of the spine. And oftentimes when I do body talks, it doesn't mean it's always like that, but when I do, I can really address organs by addressing the spine first. For some reason, it happens that way sometimes, or oftentimes, it depends, but let me see if there's any details. So the diaphragm, which sits right in your rib cage, right below your chest, your breasts, when there's the splitting of the rib cages, right there's a diaphragm. So I'm addressing something that's coming up outside of BodyTalk, not the BodyTalk system per se, but it's something external. That is recommended for the group. Let go of the past. That's what's recommended in order to help you in your healing journey, okay, with BodyTalk. But how do you do that? Well, by receiving this session, this will already start working for you. The releasing of the past is already intrinsic into the session, into what your body mind will be working with. So this will start happening somehow, okay? But of course, it requires some effort from your end as well, right? If you have things that really remind you, maybe you want to get rid of those things to not be revisiting them every time. So we're going to work with circulation, nerve supply. So we're going to work with the lymphatic circulation within a certain body part. Cardiovascular system. So when we work with circulation or supply, you're boosting the circulation, in this case, of blood flow within the cardiovascular system. No specifics, no more specific here. We're going to do a sub-session, which is a session within the session that I already started. So focusing on the urinary system, which is the system that really releases toxins from the body through the bladder, from the urethra. So whatever the body doesn't need anymore, either toxin-wise or emotion-wise, can be released through the urine. Emotions can be also from poop. That's the best way to release emotion, by the way. And that can be experienced after a BodyTalk session. So for just an example, so you understand, for those who are like constipated, if you receive a BodyTalk session and you do have like a good bowel movement afterwards, that means you're having a big release of things that you don't need anymore, emotionally speaking. So we're doing another link to bones again. So musculoskeletal system. So we're going to balance the whole musculoskeletal system this time. So mind you that the whole body has reciprocal points when it comes to structure. So the left side is reciprocal to the right, the front to the back, the upper side to the extremities are reciprocal to each other, and diagonally speaking as well. So in order for us to have the body balanced, we need to balance those connecting points to help with your balance, with tensegrity, which is the movement, coordination, in order for the body to function as well. Because when you balance both sides, you're not only balancing the bone structure, but you are balancing also what's internally in the body. So all the organs, all the systems, all the cells, all the blood vessels, everything. Circulation, nerve supply one more time. So we're going to do nerve, which means we're going to balance the brain. And we're going to do... So we're going to do balancing of the brain, of the blood flow within the brain. And this helps when there is hyperactivation of the brain, which happens when you are rethinking, revisiting emotions, thoughts, and situations. So we're going to work with the balancing of the environmental aspect, which can be internal or external. So it's an event, past event. So mind you that everybody here or later that will be connecting to this energy. So there's a lot of different situations that I can pick up from, but I'm picking up from somebody's energy and I don't know who. So years ago, six years ago. So this is for someone there. So I'm picking up on that energy. So it's giving me specifics. So place where this happened. And I don't know, mind you that I don't know, but I'm trying to figure out where. All right, it's taking me to street. Event, a car crash, car accident. So guilt towards that car accident. So the person seems like that they were the driver. So there's this sense of guilt, this feeling of guilt towards having caused the crash. And a heaviness, like probably from this guilt, right? Nothing in definition, okay. So nothing else in subsession. So this subsession is closed. We're going to go back to the main session now. Let me see if it's a priority. Nope. So we're going to actually integrate this session. We're going to go into implementing this session. So there's a satellite over this session. Satellite is something that influences the session, influences someone, their feelings, their emotions, their behaviors, something that's really prominent towards their environment, what they deal with on a daily basis, how they feel and behave, and so forth. So the satellite is guilt. So why is guilt a satellite? Because it's something that you are dealing with on a daily basis, and it really rules your life. That's what it is. It's the fact that it's with you 24/7. So it's on the back burner, but it's there. So it's everything like that's hanging above you. That's the satellite. All right, we are ready to integrate this session. So if you want to join me and do the tapping, so now we're not going to tap the cortices, which is the whole brain balancing. We're going to just tap the session onto the 3 brains, okay? So the head brain, heart brain, and etheric brain. So if you want to join me, so you need to take exaggerated breaths. So more than deep, you have to go like that, okay? Tap here. And this hand can fluctuate by tapping on the chest and on the abdomen area. Okay, so let me see if there's anything to add. You can stop tapping. All right, so there's something outside BodyTalk that is recommended that you guys should do, which is the tapping of the cortices, which is the technique that I used in the beginning before the session started. So if you don't know what the cortices are, you have to revisit the session, watch the whole thing from the beginning, and you have to watch the whole thing if you want to get an improvement from it. So tap the cortices every day, twice a day. That's your homework, okay? In order for you to start getting rid of this guilt and start bringing yourself more to focus, to calmness, to forgiveness of yourself, of others, whatever is that the problem is that you're dealing with. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that's it. So this is what a BodyTalk session looks like. I personally work on trauma release, and that's my specialty. And body talk can really work on everything that you want to have addressed on the body mind. It doesn't really matter. And even if we don't have like a focus, you can work on everything and balance everything, but you can also have a focus like I had the guilt focus, and then we're going to start functioning better under that spectrum. But everything else in your body mind can start improving after receiving a body talk session too, even though the focus wasn't everything else, or it wasn't something else more specific that you might be dealing with as well at the moment. Okay, if you'd like to receive individual body talk sessions to address health issues, mental health issues, traumas, whatever it is that you might be dealing with, you can DM me on TikTok and let me know. I always work remotely. My sessions are always online. I can work individually. I can work on group sessions, pairs, doesn't matter. I also work on animals. If you have any animal companion at home that's been traumatized and deal with behavioral issues, I also help them. So it's really a matter of working on the body holistically and entirely, not dividing the body in body parts. And body talk really address everything at once. Okay, and if you like this session and if you'd like to share with others, please do. Other people that might be struggling with the same issue, they'll sure benefit from it. If you'd like to donate to this, to the I was going to say the channel, but to the session, towards the session receiving. I don't know how to play with everything on TikTok so far, but if you'd like to do a PayPal a transfer, feel free to do so. It's transformtherapiesadriana@gmail.com. Okay, and I'll leave it in your hands, whatever you want to do. Please follow me on TikTok so you can check my other sessions. Also on YouTube, Trauma Release and Healing Therapist. That's my name on YouTube. Also on Instagram, Transform Therapies. My content is equally distributed, except for YouTube. I'm a little bit behind on YouTube, but very updated on both Instagram and TikTok. Okay? And I hope to see you soon. I'll be always doing these sessions, if not daily, because of clients and whatnot, as often as I can. Okay, but so stay tuned, follow me for you to know when the next session will be and regarding whatever else. So even if you're not struggling with that individual, that specific issue, it's always good to receive body talk sessions or any other sessions with other therapies that I do as well. So you can always evolve, because this is a constant progress, a constant walk. We always walking towards improving ourselves. All right, so have a great week ahead. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night.